I see my mom before she sees me. She's standing in the venue lobby, wearing the navy dress we picked out together 3 months ago. Her hands are shaking slightly as she smooths down the fabric, and I know she's nervous. She's always nervous at big events, always worried she'll do something wrong or embarrass me. She never does, but the anxiety lives in her anyway. I'm about to call out to her, about to wave and give her a reassuring smile, when my mother-in-law Cynthia steps directly into her path. Not accidentally, deliberately, like a bouncer blocking entry to an exclusive club. "You're not on the list," Cynthia says. Her voice carries across the marble lobby, loud enough that several arriving guests turn to look. My mom's smile, the brave, hopeful smile she'd been wearing since she walked through the door, collapses, just crumbles right off her face. I watch it happen from 20 feet away, and I feel my throat start to burn. "I RSVP'd," my mom says quietly. "Luke gave me the invitation himself." "That may be," Cynthia replies, her tone clipped and professional, like she's reciting policy at a bank. "But I handle the final guest confirmations, and you're not on my list." My mom looks around, searching for me in the small crowd of early arrivals. When her eyes find mine, I see something in them that makes my chest tight. It's not anger. It's not even confusion. It's resignation. Like some part of her expected this to happen. I start walking toward them. My best man, Jackson, is talking to me about something, probably the rings or the timeline or some last-minute detail, but his words fade into background noise. All I can focus on is the scene unfolding in front of me. "Cynthia," I say as I approach. My voice comes out calmer than I feel. There must be some mistake. My mom is definitely on the guest list. I confirmed it with the coordinator last week. Cynthia turns to look at me. She's wearing a champagne-colored dress that probably cost more than my mom's monthly rent, and her makeup is flawless. She smiles at me, but it doesn't reach her eyes. "Luke, darling, I know this is difficult, but we can't have everyone who claims to be invited just walking in. We have protocols for a reason." "Claims to be invited?" My mom's voice is barely above a whisper. "Luke is my son." "Yes, well," Cynthia says, still smiling that cold smile. "Family situations can be complicated. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a wedding to prepare for." She actually puts her hand on my mom's shoulder like she's going to physically turn her around and guide her back toward the exit. My mom flinches at the touch but doesn't move. That's when I realize this isn't a misunderstanding or a clerical error. This is deliberate. This is planned. And judging by the way a few of the early arriving guests are already whispering to each other, Cynthia has already planted seeds about my mom being some kind of problem. "Don't touch her," I say quietly. Jackson steps closer, sensing tension. Cynthia's hand drops from my mom's shoulder, but her smile doesn't waver. "Luke, I understand you're emotional right now. It's your wedding day. But trust me, I'm handling this. Your mother can wait in the parking lot if she'd like, and after the ceremony, we can discuss whether there's space." "Space?" I interrupt. "In the venue I'm paying for?" "That Natalie's father and I are paying for," Cynthia corrects smoothly. "And as such, we have certain expectations about who." "I RSVP'd 6 weeks ago," my mom says again. Her voice is stronger now, but it's shaking. "I have the confirmation email." Cynthia sighs like my mom is being deliberately difficult. "Emails can be faked, sweetheart. Now, I really must insist." "This isn't right," Jackson mutters beside me. Cynthia's gaze snaps to him. "Excuse me?" I said this isn't right. Luke's mom is supposed to be here. She's on the seating chart. I saw it yesterday. For just a second, something flickers across Cynthia's face. Surprise, maybe, or irritation that someone is contradicting her. But she recovers quickly. "Seating charts can be changed," she says. "And they were. Last night. For reasons I don't need to explain to you." "You're going to need to explain them to me," I say. My voice is still quiet, but there's steel in it now. "And to Natalie." Cynthia's smile finally drops. "Don't you dare ruin Natalie's day with your baggage." The word hangs in the air. Baggage. Like my mother is something to be managed or disposed of, not a person who raised me and loves me and deserves to see me get married. I see my mom take a small step backward toward the door. She's retreating. She's going to leave rather than cause a scene. And somehow, that's the worst thing of all. "Mom, don't," I say, reaching for her arm. "Don't leave." Cynthia steps between us again. For a woman who's probably 5'4" in heels, she has an impressive ability to fill a doorway. "Luke, I'm trying to save you from making a mistake," she says. Her voice has dropped to what I'm sure she thinks is a gentle, reasonable tone. "This isn't your day. This is Natalie's day, and you don't want to ruin it by being stubborn about this." She gestures vaguely at my mom without actually looking at her. Like my mom is a problem to be pointed at rather than a person to be acknowledged. "Natalie is upstairs getting ready," Cynthia continues. "She's happy, she's excited, she's been planning this day for a year. Do you really want her to come downstairs and find conflict?" The way she says conflict makes it clear she means my mother. My mom is the conflict. My mom is the problem. Never mind that she's done nothing but show up to her son's wedding with an invitation and an RSVP confirmation. Jackson is still standing next to me, and I can feel his tension. He knows my mom. He's been to our house for Sunday dinners. He knows she's not trouble, not dramatic, not any of the things Cynthia is implying. "Maybe we should call Natalie," Jackson suggests. "Let her?" "Absolutely not," Cynthia snaps. The gentle tone is gone instantly. "You will not disturb the bride an hour before her ceremony because of this situation. She has enough to deal with." My mom takes another small step back. "Luke," she says softly, "it's okay. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to cause problems on your wedding day." "You're not causing problems," I tell her. "You being here isn't a problem." "But clearly it is," Cynthia interjects smoothly. "Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we?" She turns to me, and her expression shifts to something that might look like sympathy if I didn't know better. "Luke, I understand this is difficult. I know you have, but there's a time and place for everything, and today is about Natalie, about your future. Not about appeasing everyone from your past." The words are carefully chosen, clinical, like she's discussing a business merger rather than my family, and the implication is crystal clear. My mom is the past, something to be left behind, while Natalie and her family are the future, the important thing, the thing worth protecting. "Cynthia," I start, trying to keep my voice level. "I don't know what you think is going on here, but—" "I know exactly what's going on," she interrupts. "I'm preventing a scene. I'm protecting my daughter's wedding day. And I'm doing what needs to be done because someone has to be the adult in the room." A few more guests have arrived during this conversation. They're lingering near the entrance, trying not to stare but obviously listening. Some of them I recognize, Natalie's aunts and uncles, a few family friends. They're all watching my mom like she's already proven herself to be the troublemaker Cynthia is painting her as. "This isn't fair," Jackson says again. He's braver than me right now, willing to voice what I'm still trying to process. Cynthia rounds on him. "You're the best man. Your job is to support the groom, not to question the family's decisions. Perhaps you should go check on the groomsmen instead of inserting yourself into matters that don't concern you." Jackson's jaw tightens. He looks at me, waiting for a signal about what to do. But I'm frozen, caught between the woman who raised me and the woman who's about to become family, between causing a scene and letting my mother be treated like she doesn't matter. Before I can decide, Cynthia leans in close to me. Close enough that the gathering guests can't hear her words, but I can see my mom watching, trying to read what's being said. "If she walks in," Cynthia murmurs, her voice low and hard, "if you let her walk into that ceremony, I will stop the wedding. I will walk upstairs right now, tell Natalie that there's a family emergency, and this day will not happen. Do you understand me?" I pull back, staring at her. "You wouldn't." "Try me." Her smile is back, but there's nothing warm about it. "I have worked too hard, spent too much money, and invested too much time in making this day perfect for my daughter. I will not let anyone, not you, not your mother, not anyone, ruin it." "You're threatening to cancel my wedding because my mom showed up?" "I'm promising to protect my daughter's happiness. If you truly love Natalie, you'll understand that sometimes we have to make difficult choices for the people we love." The manipulation is so smooth, so practiced, that I almost don't catch it. She's twisting this, making it about my love for Natalie rather than her own control issues, making me the bad guy if I stand up for my mom. Jackson is watching this exchange with growing alarm. He can't hear the words, but he can read the tension. "Luke," my mom says again. Her voice is so small, so defeated. Just let me go. I'll see you after. Maybe we can have lunch next week or something. She's offering to leave, offering to sacrifice seeing her only son get married just to avoid conflict. And Cynthia knows it. I can see the satisfaction in her eyes. Not today, you won't, Cynthia says, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Today is about Luke's new family, his real future. The words land like a slap. My mom's face goes white and I feel something inside me crack. That's when I notice something I should have seen sooner. A groomsman, Preston, one of Natalie's cousins who I barely know, is standing near the corridor that leads to the main hall. He's watching Cynthia, and when she makes brief eye contact with him, he nods slightly. They've coordinated this. Whatever this is, it's not spontaneous. I need to see the guest list, I say. My voice comes out harder than I intended. The actual official guest list that went to the venue coordinator. Cynthia waves dismissively. It's handled. Everything is handled. You don't need to worry about. I'm not worried. I'm asking, where's the list? Luke, you're being unreasonable. It's your wedding day. You should be getting ready with your groomsmen, not. Where is the list? Jackson shifts beside me, his posture straightening. He's got my back, and knowing that gives me strength. Cynthia sighs dramatically, like I'm a child throwing a tantrum. She reaches for a clipboard that's sitting on the welcome table near the entrance. The table is decorated with elegant place cards and a beautifully printed seating chart under glass. Here, she says, thrusting the clipboard at me. Satisfied? I take it and scan the list. It's typed, professional looking, organized alphabetically. I find the W section. Westwood, Luke. Westwood, Natalie. Several other Westwoods, Natalie's extended family. My mom's name isn't there. But something else catches my eye. At the bottom of the page, there's a handwritten note, revised 11/3 per CB. Today's date is November 4th. This list was changed yesterday. And CB, those are Cynthia's initials. Cynthia Browning. When was the original list submitted, I ask. What does it matter? When was it submitted? Weeks ago. But as I said, things change. Guest lists get finalized. Adjustments are made. I look around for the wedding coordinator. Marla should be here somewhere. She's been to every planning meeting, knows every detail of this event. I spot her near the entrance to the main hall, talking quietly with a catering staff member. Marla? I call out. Can you come here for a minute? She looks up, and I swear I see something like fear cross her face before she schools her expression into professional pleasantness. She excuses herself from the caterer and walks over, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Is everything all right? She asks, but she's looking at Cynthia, not at me. That tells me something right there. I need to see the original guest list, I say. The one we submitted when we booked the venue. Oh, Marla glances at Cynthia again. I'd have to check my office. We don't usually. It's fine, Cynthia interrupts. Luke is just having some last-minute jitters. Cold feet, you know how it is. I'm not having cold feet. I'm asking to see a document that I have every right to see. Marla's discomfort is palpable. She's clutching her event binder to her chest like a shield. Mr. Westwood, Mrs. Browning asked for final authority on guest confirmations, for security purposes, to make sure only invited guests. Final authority? I repeat. Since when? Since, well, Marla won't meet my eyes. Since yesterday. She said there had been some concerns about, uninvited people trying to attend, and that she needed to verify everyone personally. Yesterday, I say slowly. The day before the wedding. She just decided to take over guest verification yesterday. She made it sound urgent, Marla says quietly, like it was a security issue. I look at Cynthia. She's still smiling that practiced smile, but there's a warning in her eyes. She knows I'm piecing things together, and she doesn't like it. What security issue? I ask her directly. Just general precautions. You'd be surprised how many people try to crash weddings these days. I was simply being thorough. By removing my mother from the guest list, I removed several people who hadn't properly confirmed. It's standard. Bullshit, Jackson mutters. Cynthia's head snaps toward him, her eyes narrowing. Excuse me? I said that's bullshit. Luke's mom confirmed weeks ago. I know because I was there when she called him to say she'd sent the RSVP. Cynthia's smile is getting tighter. Young man, I don't appreciate. And I don't appreciate watching you bully someone who's done nothing wrong, Jackson shoots back. This is messed up, and you know it. More guests are arriving now. The lobby is getting crowded. People are starting to notice that something's wrong, that there's tension at what should be a happy occasion. I can see them whispering, pointing discreetly, trying to figure out what's happening. My mom is still standing there, frozen, clutching her purse like it's the only solid thing in the world. Her eyes are shining with unshed tears, and I know she's about 2 seconds from just leaving. From walking out and never mentioning this to me again, because she'll think it's her fault somehow. I need to call Natalie. I need to get her down here and let her see what her mother is doing. But Cynthia's threat echoes in my head. If my mom walks in, the wedding doesn't happen. Would she really do that? Would she really sabotage her own daughter's wedding just to prove a point? Looking at her now, at the steel in her eyes and the set of her jaw, I think she absolutely would. And that terrifies me more than anything else. I'm trying to figure out my next move when Cynthia speaks again, and this time her voice carries across the lobby like she wants everyone to hear. You know, she says, her tone shifting to something that sounds like reluctant concern. I didn't want to bring this up. I really didn't, but since you're insisting on making this difficult. She pauses, and I know whatever's coming next is going to be bad. Your mother showed up drunk last time, she announces. At the engagement party. Several people noticed. Several people commented. I kept quiet because I didn't want to embarrass you, but now that you're forcing my hand. My mom's eyes go wide. What? I don't even drink. Oh, come now, Cynthia says with that same practiced sympathy. There's no shame in having a problem, but there is shame in not getting help for it and then showing up to important family events and making a scene. I didn't drink anything at the engagement party except water and 1 glass of champagne for the toast, my mom says. Her voice is shaking. I've never, Luke, you know I don't drink. I do know that. My mom hasn't had alcohol since my dad died 8 years ago. She said it reminded her too much of him. He used to make her these elaborate cocktails, and after he died, she couldn't stand the taste of alcohol anymore. It was too painful. Mom's telling the truth, I say firmly. She doesn't drink. Cynthia shrugs delicately. That's what everyone says until they have to admit they have a problem. I'm not judging Evelyn. I'm just saying that maybe today, of all days, it's better if you... You're lying, I interrupt. My voice is louder than I intended, and several nearby guests turn to stare fully now, not even pretending to look away anymore. My mom doesn't drink. She didn't drink at the engagement party. You're making this up. Luke, lower your voice, Cynthia hisses. You're causing a scene. I'm causing a scene? You're the one blocking my mother from entering. I'm trying to protect this family from embarrassment. By lying about my mom? Cynthia's expression hardens. I am not lying. Ask anyone who was there. Ask Natalie's Aunt Barbara. Ask the Hendersons. They all saw your mother swaying, slurring her words. That's not true. My mom's voice cracks. I would never. Luke, please, you have to believe me. I do believe you, Mom. I look at the gathering crowd. I recognize some of the faces, people who were at the engagement party. Did anyone here see my mom drunk at the engagement party? Silence. People look away, suddenly very interested in their shoes or their phones or the floral arrangements. See? Cynthia says triumphantly. They don't want to say it out loud because they're being polite. But they all know what they saw. Or, Jackson says loudly, they're not saying anything because there's nothing to say. Because it didn't happen. One of the guests, a woman I recognize as one of Natalie's aunts, clears her throat. I was at the engagement party. I don't remember Evelyn seeming drunk. Cynthia whirls on her. Barbara, you told me yourself that. I told you she seemed nervous, Barbara says, her voice quiet but firm. I said she seemed uncomfortable. I never said she was drunk. Cynthia's face flushes slightly. You implied. You inferred. There's a difference. The lobby has gone very quiet now. Everyone's watching this confrontation play out like it's a show. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest, adrenaline making my hands shake. This is ridiculous, Cynthia says, but some of the confidence has left her voice. I don't have time for this. Luke, your mother can wait outside. After the ceremony, if Natalie wants to see her. Natalie would want her here now, I say. Natalie invited her. Natalie put her on the guest list. Natalie wants her at the wedding. Natalie wants her wedding day to be perfect, Cynthia corrects. And sometimes that means making difficult choices about who should and shouldn't be present. You mean you want to make those choices? I mean, someone has to think clearly, and obviously you're too emotional right now. Jackson laughs, but there's no humor in it. Too emotional? His mom's being barred from his wedding based on lies, and you think he's the one being unreasonable? Cynthia ignores him, keeping her focus on me. Luke, I'm giving you one last chance to handle this quietly. Send your mother home. Tell her to wait. After the wedding, after everything's done, you can have whatever relationship you want with her. But today, she needs to leave. And if I say no, then you'll regret it. The threat is out in the open now, no longer whispered. Several guests gasp. Marla, the coordinator, looks like she wants to sink through the floor. My mom has tears running down her face, though she's trying desperately to wipe them away without anyone noticing. This is my wedding day. This should be one of the happiest days of my life. Instead, I'm standing in a lobby full of judgmental strangers while my future mother-in-law tries to bully my mother into leaving. And the worst part, I still don't know what to do. If I call Natalie, Cynthia might make good on her threat to cancel the wedding. If I let my mom leave, I'll never forgive myself. And if I force the issue, I might lose Natalie before we even say our vows. I look at my mom. She's so small right now, so diminished by Cynthia's attacks and the stares of strangers. She's been through so much in her life, losing my dad, raising me alone, working 2 jobs to keep us afloat. She deserves better than this. I make my decision. I want to see the official guest list, I say again, this time addressing Marla directly and ignoring Cynthia completely. Not the clipboard, the actual file you have in your office, the one that was submitted when we booked this venue. Marla shifts uncomfortably. Mr. Westwood, I really shouldn't. You work for me and Natalie, I interrupt. Not for Cynthia. We hired you. We're paying you. So I'm asking you, as your client, to show me the guest list we submitted. She looks at Cynthia, who's practically vibrating with barely contained fury. Then she looks back at me, and I see her make a decision. It's in my office. Give me 2 minutes. She hurries off, her heels clicking rapidly against the floor. Cynthia watches her go with an expression that could curdle milk. You're making a huge mistake, Cynthia says to me. You have no idea what you're doing. I'm making sure my mother isn't being kicked out of my wedding based on lies. They're not lies. I saw what I saw. Really? Because Barbara just said she never saw my mom drunk. And I'm betting if we ask around, no one else did either. Cynthia's lips press into a thin line. This is exactly why I didn't want her here. You always take her side. You can never see her objectively. There are no sides. There's just my mother, who got an invitation to her son's wedding and showed up to attend it. That's not taking a side. That's basic human decency. Decency? Cynthia's voice rises. You want to talk about decency? Where was her decency when she raised you in that tiny apartment? When she couldn't even afford to send you to a proper school? When she... Stop, I say quietly. The word cuts through her tirade like a knife. Just stop. Jackson is staring at Cynthia with open disgust now. Even some of the guests look uncomfortable with where this is going. My mom did her best, I continue. She worked herself to the bone to give me a good life. She made sure I had everything I needed, and she never once made me feel like we didn't have enough. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Cynthia says. She made you think that was acceptable. That struggling was something to be proud of instead of something to be ashamed of. My mom makes a small sound, almost like a whimper. I reach for her hand, and she grabs onto mine like a lifeline. I am proud, I tell Cynthia. I'm proud of my mom. I'm proud of where I came from. And I'm proud to have her at my wedding. Even if it means ruining Natalie's day? The only person ruining anything is you. Marla returns, slightly out of breath, carrying a folder. She hands it to me without looking at Cynthia. This is the original submission from 10 months ago, she says, when you first booked with us. I open the folder. Inside is the guest list, a printed spreadsheet with names, addresses, meal preferences. I scan down to the W section. There it is. Westwood, Evelyn, table 3. Meal preference, vegetarian, +1, none. She's on the list. She was always on the list. I turn the folder around and show it to Cynthia. Explain this. She barely glances at it. That's outdated. Things changed. Things changed, or you changed them? I made necessary adjustments. Based on what? Made up stories about her being drunk, classist judgments about where she lives. I was protecting my daughter. From what? From having a perfectly nice woman at her wedding? From me having a mother who cares about me? Cynthia's composure is cracking. I can see it in the tightness around her eyes, the way her hands are clenched into fists at her sides. You don't understand, she says. You don't understand what it's like to have worked your whole life to build something, to create a certain standard, only to have it all threatened by someone who doesn't what? Doesn't meet your standards? Doesn't have enough money? Doesn't dress the right way, or talk the right way, or live in the right neighborhood? Doesn't fit? The words burst out of her. She doesn't fit with this family. She never has. And I've tried, Luke. I've really tried to accept her. But you've tried to exclude her. There's a difference. More guests are arriving now, and they're walking into what's clearly a full-blown confrontation. I see confusion on their faces, followed by curiosity, then discomfort as they realize they're witnessing a family implosion. Marla is wringing her hands. Should I maybe get the bride? This seems like something she should. No, Cynthia snaps. Absolutely not. You will not disturb Natalie. Why not? I ask. Afraid of what she'll say? Afraid she'll take my side instead of yours? She'll be upset. This is her wedding day. She doesn't need this stress. Then maybe you shouldn't have created the stress by trying to ban my mother. A woman I don't recognize, one of the newly arrived guests, leans toward her companion and whispers something. Her companion whispers back. The rumor mill is starting to churn. By the time this wedding starts, everyone will know there was drama in the lobby. Everyone will have heard some version of events, probably distorted by retelling. That's assuming the wedding starts at all. I look at my mom. She's standing very still, very quiet, like if she doesn't move or speak, maybe she'll become invisible, and all of this will stop being about her. Mom, I say gently, do you want to leave? She looks up at me with red-rimmed eyes. I don't want to cause problems for you, sweetie. If my being here is going to... You being here isn't the problem. You've never been the problem. Cynthia scoffs. Of course you'd say that. You're blind when it comes to her. No, Jackson says firmly. He sees her clearly. You're the one who's blind to how terrible you're being right now. How dare you? How dare you? Jackson shoots back. This is supposed to be a wedding, not whatever power trip you're on. I look at the clipboard Cynthia was holding earlier, the one with the revised guest list. I grab it and flip through the pages. Something's nagging at me, something I missed before. And then I see it. Scrawled at the top of the clipboard in Cynthia's handwriting. Final authority, CB. This isn't even an official venue document, I say slowly. This is your personal notes. Cynthia snatches for the clipboard, but I pull it back. Give me that. You made your own list. You literally created your own guest list and tried to pass it off as official. I coordinated with Marla. Did you? I turn to Marla. Did she coordinate with you, or did she tell you what to do? Marla looks miserable. She said she was handling it. She said you and Natalie had agreed to let her manage the final confirmations. We never agreed to that. I know that now, Marla says quietly. I'm sorry. I should have verified with you directly. Cynthia is looking around now, and I can see her realizing that she's losing control of the narrative. People are starting to see through her justifications, starting to question her version of events. She needs to regain the upper hand. And I can see her calculating her next move. Fine, Cynthia says abruptly, her tone shifting to something that might pass for reasonable. Fine, I can see you're going to be stubborn about this. Your mother can attend. My mom's face lights up with hope. Really? But, Cynthia continues, and my mom's hope dims immediately. She'll need to sit in the back. There's a row reserved for late editions and plus ones. She can sit there. I'm about to argue when I catch something in Cynthia's expression. She's not conceding. She's just changing tactics. This is still about control. She couldn't keep my mom out entirely, so now she's trying to dictate where my mom can sit, how involved she can be. The seating chart has her at table 3, I say, consulting the original document Marla gave me. Front section. That's where she's sitting. The seating chart has changed, Cynthia says smoothly. We had to make adjustments for some last-minute RSVPs. Table 3 is full now. Then we'll make room. There is no room to make, Luke. The tables are set, the place cards are out. We can't just rearrange everything an hour before the ceremony. Marla clears her throat. Actually, table 3 has 2 empty seats. The Washingtons canceled yesterday due to a family emergency. Cynthia's jaw tightens. Those seats are being held. For, I ask. For contingencies. Contingencies. I repeat flatly. You're keeping 2 seats empty for contingencies, but my mother can't sit at her assigned table? It's more complicated than that. It seems pretty simple to me. Either she sits where she's supposed to sit, or you admit you're just making this difficult for the sake of being difficult. One of the guests, an older man I vaguely recognize as someone from Natalie's father's work, speaks up. Just let the woman sit down. This is getting ridiculous. A few people murmur in agreement. The tide of public opinion is starting to shift, and Cynthia feels it. I can see the moment she realizes that she's becoming the villain in this story, that people are starting to side with the quiet woman being bullied, rather than the aggressive mother-in-law throwing her weight around. But Cynthia isn't done fighting. She can sit at the table, Cynthia says through gritted teeth, but she's not walking in. My mom looks confused. Walking in? The processional, Cynthia clarifies. When the wedding party enters, you're not part of that. I didn't ask to be part of that, my mom says quietly. I just want to sit and watch my son get married. Exactly, Cynthia says, pouncing on her words. You just want to sit and watch. So sit in the back, watch the ceremony, and let the people who matter be the focus. The casual cruelty of it takes my breath away. The people who matter? You know what I mean. I know exactly what you mean. You're saying my mom doesn't matter. I'm saying she's not part of the wedding party. She's not immediate family. She's my mother, and Natalie's family is paying for this wedding. Cynthia's composure finally cracks completely. We have funded every single aspect of this day. The venue, the flowers, the food, the photographer, everything. And as such, we have certain expectations about how this day will go and who will be prominently featured. So this is about money? About who paid for what? This is about respect. About understanding that when someone invests in your future, you show them the courtesy of acknowledging their importance. And you think the way to be important is to make my mom feel small? I think the way to be important is to recognize that some people are simply more relevant to your new life than others. The lobby has gone silent. Even the staff members have stopped what they're doing to watch this confrontation. My mom looks like she wants the ground to swallow her whole. Jackson looks furious, and I feel something cold and hard settling in my chest. This isn't just about today. This is about every day going forward. This is Cynthia establishing the hierarchy she expects, making it clear where my mom ranks in her estimation. And if I don't stop it now, this is how it's going to be for the rest of my marriage. Cynthia deciding who matters and who doesn't, who gets included and who gets pushed aside. I need to call Natalie, I say. Cynthia's eyes flash with something like panic. No, absolutely not. She needs to know what's happening. She needs to focus on getting ready. You will not disturb her with this nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's her wedding. She has a right to know that her mother is trying to kick out my mother. I am not trying to kick her out. I'm simply managing the situation. By lying about her being drunk, by removing her from the guest list, by trying to ban her from the ceremony, by protecting my daughter from unnecessary drama. I pull out my phone. Cynthia lunges for it. Actually lunges, reaching out to grab it from my hand. I step back, shocked by her aggression. Don't you dare, she hisses. Don't you dare ruin this for Natalie. If you call her, if you drag Herman into this mess, I swear to you, Luke, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You think you're protecting your mother? You're destroying your marriage before it even starts. Jackson moves closer to me, a silent show of support. A few of the guests shift uncomfortably. This has gone way beyond a simple disagreement. This is a full-scale family war breaking out in a wedding venue lobby. I look at my mom. She's shaking her head slightly, a silent plea for me not to make this worse. But I'm done listening to silent pleas. I'm done watching her shrink herself to accommodate other people's egos. I dial Natalie's number. The phone rings. Cynthia makes another grab for it, but Jackson blocks her path. Move, Cynthia snaps at him. No, Jackson says simply. The phone keeps ringing. 2 rings. 3. Then Natalie's voice, bright and happy and completely unaware of the drama unfolding downstairs. Luke, is everything okay? I thought we weren't supposed to talk before. Everything's not okay, I say. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. I need you to come downstairs. There's a pause. When Natalie speaks again, some of the brightness has faded. What's wrong? Cynthia tries to talk over me, but I turn away from her, cupping my hand around the phone. Just come downstairs, please, to the lobby. Luke, you're scaring me. What's... Then Natalie hears it. A sniffle. Quiet, quickly suppressed, but unmistakable. My mom trying not to cry. Natalie's voice sharpens instantly. Luke, why is your mom crying? The question hangs in the air like a guillotine blade. Everyone in the lobby freezes. Cynthia's face goes pale, then flushes red. Natalie, honey, she calls out, her voice suddenly syrupy sweet. Everything is fine, just a small misunderstanding. Don't worry about. Put it on speaker, Natalie says. It's not a request. I tap the speaker button. Natalie's voice fills the lobby, and somehow that makes everything more real, more serious. Someone tell me what's happening, Natalie says. And I want the truth. All of it. Cynthia jumps in immediately. Sweetheart, there's no need to get upset. We just had a little confusion about the guest list, but it's all sorted out now. You should go back to getting ready and... Mom? Natalie's voice is flat. Why is Evelyn crying? The use of my mom's name, not Luke's mom, but Evelyn, like a real person deserving of concern, makes my mom's tears flow harder. She claps a hand over her mouth, trying to muffle the sound. Cynthia opens her mouth, but I speak first. Your mom tried to keep my mom from entering the venue, I say. She claimed my mom wasn't on the guest list. Then she said my mom showed up drunk to the engagement party. Then she said my mom could come in, but only if she sat in the back. And just now, she tried to stop me from calling you because she said it would ruin your day. Silence on the other end. Then, Mom, is that true? It's more complicated than Luke is making it sound, Cynthia says quickly. There were legitimate concerns about... Is it true? Natalie's voice cuts through her mother's explanations like a knife. Did you try to keep Evelyn out of our wedding? I was trying to prevent a scene, which is exactly what's happening now because Luke couldn't just... Mom. One word, spoken so quietly it's almost a whisper. But the weight behind it silences Cynthia completely. Did you or did you not tell Evelyn she couldn't come in? Cynthia's mouth opens and closes a few times. She looks around at the gathered guests, at Marla, at Jackson, at my mom, looking for support, for someone to back up her version of events. She finds nothing but uncomfortable stares and averted eyes. I suggested, Cynthia finally says, her voice tight, that perhaps it would be better if Evelyn waited until after the ceremony. I was concerned about potential disruptions. What disruptions? Well, as I mentioned, she had been drinking at the engagement party, and I thought, that's a lie, Jackson interrupts. I was at the engagement party. Evelyn wasn't drunk. She barely drank at all. I remember the engagement party, Natalie says slowly, her voice coming through the speaker clear and cold. I remember talking to Evelyn for like 20 minutes about the wedding plans. She was perfectly fine. She was perfectly sober. You were distracted that night, Cynthia argues. You didn't notice. I noticed everything, Mom. It was my engagement party, and I specifically remember thinking how sweet it was that Evelyn was so nervous about getting everything right. She wasn't drunk, she was anxious. Cynthia's face is getting redder. Well, regardless of that specific incident, there were other concerns. What concerns? Logistics, security, guest management. Logistics, Natalie repeats. The word drips with disbelief. You barred my fiancé's mother from our wedding because of logistics? I was protecting you. From what? From a woman who's been nothing but kind to me since the day I met her? From Luke's mom, who sent me a congratulations card the day we got engaged? From Evelyn, who offered to help with the wedding planning even though you made it very clear you wanted to handle everything yourself? I hadn't known about that last part. I look at my mom, who's looking at the floor, her face flushed. You didn't tell me she offered to help, I say to Cynthia. Because it wasn't necessary. Cynthia snaps. I had everything under control. Under control, or under your control? Natalie asks. Cynthia looks up at the ceiling, like she's praying for strength. Natalie, sweetheart, you're upset. I understand. But if you could just trust that I'm trying to make your day perfect. My day would have been perfect with Evelyn there. My day is not perfect with her standing in the lobby crying because my mother is being cruel. I am not being cruel. I am being practical. Someone has to think about the bigger picture here, about what this wedding represents, about the kind of family we're creating. What kind of family do you think we're creating? Natalie's voice is dangerously quiet now. Because right now, it sounds like you're trying to create the kind of family that excludes people who don't meet your standards. That's not. Cynthia stops, seemingly realizing that anything she says will only dig her deeper. The guests in the lobby are openly staring now. Some look sympathetic to my mom, some look uncomfortable. A few look like they're enjoying the drama. But all of them are witnessing this family implode in real time. Mom, I'm going to ask you something, Natalie says. And I want an honest answer. Do you have a problem with Evelyn? I don't have a problem with her personally. I just think, do you have a problem with Evelyn? Cynthia's shoulders sag slightly. I think she's not the right fit for this family. Why? Because she doesn't understand what we've built here, what we represent, the standards we maintain. Standards, Natalie says softly. You mean money. You mean status. I mean quality. You mean you think she's beneath us? The accusation lands like a bomb. Cynthia's mouth snaps shut. Her face is a mask of barely controlled fury and embarrassment. That's not fair, she finally says. But it's true, isn't it? You think because Evelyn didn't grow up with money, because she worked 2 jobs to raise Luke, because she doesn't have a college degree or a big house or whatever other arbitrary markers you've decided matter, you think that makes her less worthy. I think it makes her different, Cynthia says stiffly, and sometimes differences are incompatible. They're only incompatible if you make them incompatible. Natalie? Is there anything else? Natalie interrupts. Any other reason you tried to keep Evelyn out of our wedding? Any actual reason besides your own snobbery? Cynthia flinches like she's been slapped. I am not a snob. Then what do you call trying to exclude someone because they don't meet your standards? I call it protecting my daughter. From what? Natalie's voice rises for the first time, frustration breaking through. What exactly are you protecting me from? A woman who loves my fiancé? A woman who's been supportive of our relationship from the beginning? A woman who... She cuts herself off. There's a rustling sound over the speaker, like fabric moving. Then Natalie's voice again, closer now, more intimate. Luke? Yeah? I'm coming downstairs. Don't let anyone leave, especially not your mom. The call ends. The silence in the lobby is deafening. Cynthia looks around at the assembled guests, at Marla, at me and Jackson and my mom. She's cornered now, and she knows it. The bride, her daughter, the person she's supposedly been protecting, just took my side. In front of everyone. This is a disaster, Cynthia mutters. This is a complete disaster. It didn't have to be, Jackson says quietly. You could have just let Evelyn walk in like a normal person. You don't understand. I understand that you're more concerned with appearances than with people. And I understand that Natalie sees it too. Cynthia's hands are shaking. She clasps them together, trying to hide it. She's just emotional. She'll calm down once she thinks about it rationally. Maybe, I say. Or maybe she'll realize what you've been doing, how you've been trying to control everything, how you've been pushing my mom out from the beginning. I haven't, you have, and now everyone sees it. We wait in tense silence. The guests who were supposed to be mingling happily are instead standing in awkward clusters, whispering to each other and darting glances at the stairs where Natalie will appear. My mom is sitting in one of the lobby chairs now, Jackson standing protectively next to her. Cynthia has moved away from the main group, standing near a pillar, her arms crossed and her jaw set. Marla approaches me cautiously. Mr. Westwood, should I delay the start time? With everything that's happening? Let's wait and see what Natalie says. She nods and scurries away, speaking quietly into her headset to her staff. I can hear movement on the stairs, heels clicking, fabric rustling. Then I see her. Natalie appears at the top of the staircase in her wedding dress. She's not supposed to be seen like this, not by me, not before the ceremony. But she's walking down anyway, one hand holding up the hem of her dress, the other gripping the railing. The lobby goes silent. Everyone turns to look. My breath catches because she's beautiful, absolutely stunning, and this should be a perfect moment. Instead, it's happening in the middle of a family crisis. Her veil is lifted back from her face. Her makeup is perfect, professional, elegant, but I can see the tension in her shoulders, the tightness around her eyes. "Natalie, sweetheart, you shouldn't be down here," Cynthia starts, rushing toward her. "You should be upstairs, getting ready, not worrying about." "Stop talking, Mom." Natalie's voice is calm but firm. She reaches the bottom of the stairs and looks around the lobby, taking in the scene, the scattered guests, Marla looking stressed, Jackson standing guard next to my mom, me standing in the middle of it all. Her eyes find my mom. "Evelyn, are you okay?" My mom opens her mouth, but only a sob comes out. She shakes her head, unable to speak. Natalie walks over to her. In her wedding dress, in full bridal glory, she crouches down next to the chair where my mom is sitting. The dress pools around her, ivory silk against the dark carpet. "Tell me what happened," Natalie says gently. "Please, I need to hear it from you." My mom wipes her eyes with shaking hands. I just came to see my son get married. That's all I wanted. But Cynthia said I wasn't on the list. And then she said I was drunk at the engagement party, which I wasn't. I swear I wasn't. And then..." Her voice breaks. Natalie takes her hands. "I know you weren't drunk. I remember talking to you. You were perfect. Your mom said I don't fit. She said I'm not the right kind of family." Natalie's jaw tightens. She stands up slowly, the wedding dress swishing as she turns to face Cynthia. "Is that what you said?" Cynthia lifts her chin. "I said we have standards. I said some people are more suited to this family than others. And Evelyn isn't suited because she's different. Because she doesn't understand our world. Because," Cynthia stops herself, but not fast enough. "Because she doesn't have money," Natalie finishes. "Because she worked as a waitress to raise her son. Because she lives in a small apartment instead of a big house. Because she's not part of our country club or our social circle." "That's what you mean, isn't it?" "I mean she doesn't share our values." "What values?" "Being kind, being supportive, being there for the people you love." Because Evelyn has all of those. She's been nothing but wonderful to me, to Luke, to everyone she's met. She's from a different background. "So am I interrupt. Everyone turns to look at me. "So am I, Cynthia. I grew up in that same small apartment. I ate dinner at that same small table. My mom and I struggled together. So when you say she doesn't fit, you're saying I don't fit either." Cynthia's eyes widen. "That's not, you're different. You've risen above." "I haven't risen above anything. I am exactly who I've always been. My mom made me who I am." "Which is why you should understand that sometimes we have to leave parts of our past behind to embrace our future," Cynthia argues. "You've moved beyond that small apartment, that struggling existence. You're building a new life now, with Natalie, with our family. And that means making choices about what you carry forward and what you leave behind." "You're talking about my mother like she's baggage. I'm talking about reality, about the fact that our families are very different, and sometimes those differences are too great to bridge." "They're only too great if you decide they are," Natalie says quietly. Cynthia whirls on her. "Natalie, please. You're too young to understand how these things work. How important it is to maintain certain boundaries, certain standards." "I understand perfectly. I understand that you're so obsessed with status and appearances that you're willing to hurt people who've done nothing wrong. I understand that you care more about what the country club members think than about what makes Luke and me happy. And I understand that if I let you do this, if I let you exclude Evelyn from our wedding, you'll never stop trying to control our lives." The lobby is so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Every eye is on Natalie and Cynthia, watching this confrontation between mother and daughter. "I have never tried to control you," Cynthia says, but her voice lacks conviction. "Really? Because right now, you're literally trying to control who can attend my wedding. I'm trying to protect you." "Stop saying that." Natalie's composure cracks slightly. "Stop saying you're protecting me when what you're really doing is protecting your own ego. This isn't about me. This has never been about me. This is about you not wanting to be embarrassed in front of your friends. About you not wanting people to know that your daughter married someone whose mother worked at a diner. That's not fair. Isn't it?" Tell me, Mom, have you told your bridge club about Evelyn? Have you mentioned her to the Caldwells or the Montgomerys? Have you said one word to anyone in your social circle about Luke's mother? Cynthia's silence is answer enough. That's what I thought. Natalie says softly. You're ashamed of her. And you wanted to keep her hidden away, even today, because you didn't want anyone to see that your daughter is marrying into a family that doesn't meet your standards. I am not ashamed. Then why did you try to keep her out? Cynthia's mouth opens and closes. She looks around at the assembled guests, her friends, her social equals, people whose opinions she clearly values. They're all watching her, waiting to see what she'll say. I want what's best for you, Cynthia finally says. Her voice is quieter now, less certain. That's all I've ever wanted. Then let me decide what's best for me, not you, me. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I'm making is listening to you right now instead of getting back upstairs to finish getting ready. Natalie turns to me. Luke, is your mom okay? I look at my mom. She stopped crying, but her eyes are still red. She will be. Good. Natalie turns back to face the gathered crowd. Everyone, I'm sorry for the delay. We'll be starting the ceremony shortly. Please go ahead and find your seats. She says it with such calm authority that people actually start moving toward the main hall. The spell is broken. The show is over. Time to move along. But Cynthia isn't done. If you do this, she says, her voice low and urgent, if you let her stay, if you embarrass me like this in front of everyone, there will be consequences. Natalie stops. Slowly, she turns back to her mother. What kind of consequences? Cynthia looks around, clearly aware that she still has an audience despite people starting to filter into the ceremony space. She lowers her voice, but I'm close enough to hear. We'll discuss this later, privately. No, Natalie says, we'll discuss it now. What consequences? Cynthia's eyes flick to the remaining guests, then back to Natalie. Fine. You want to do this here? Fine. If you insist on keeping her. She gestures at my mom without looking at her. Then, I will not fund the reception. A collective gasp ripples through the remaining guests. I feel my stomach drop. The reception is supposed to be elaborate, dinner for 200 people, an open bar, a live band, an elaborate dessert display. Natalie and I couldn't afford it on our own, which is why Cynthia and Natalie's father offered to pay. Or, more accurately, which is why Cynthia insisted on paying and then held it over us for the entire planning process. Natalie goes very still. You're threatening to cancel the reception? I'm simply stating that I will not fund an event that disrespects our family's values. Our family's values include excluding people who've done nothing wrong. Our family's values include maintaining standards and dignity. Dignity, Natalie repeats. You're talking about dignity while threatening to ruin your daughter's wedding reception because you don't like the groom's mother. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm trying to make you understand that actions have consequences. If you choose to publicly humiliate me, to disregard my concerns, to allow someone who doesn't belong. She belongs because I say she belongs. This is my wedding, that I'm paying for, that you insisted on paying for so you could control every aspect of it. Cynthia's face flushes. That's not true. Isn't it? You picked the venue. You chose the menu. You selected the flowers. Every time Luke or I suggested something, you had a reason why it wouldn't work, why your idea was better. And now you're using the money as leverage to get your way one more time. I am trying to protect you from making a mistake that will affect the rest of your life. The only mistake I'd be making is letting you control me. Cynthia's voice rises. You are being incredibly ungrateful right now. Your father and I have given you everything. We paid for your education, your apartment, your car. We've supported you in every way possible. And this is how you repay us? By disrespecting me in front of everyone? You disrespected Evelyn first. She is not part of this family. She is now. The words hang in the air. Natalie's breathing hard, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Cynthia looks like she's been slapped. What did you just say? I said she is part of this family. When I marry Luke, Evelyn becomes my mother-in-law. She becomes family. And I will not start my marriage by excluding my husband's mother to appease your snobbery. Snobbery? Cynthia's voice is dangerously quiet. You think I'm a snob? I think you care more about appearances than about people. I think you've spent so much time worried about what other people think that you've forgotten how to just be kind. I am kind. I am generous. Do you have any idea how much money I've spent on this wedding? And there it is, Natalie says quietly. That's what this is really about. The money. You spent money, so you think you get to control everything. You think the money gives you the right to tell me who can and can't attend my wedding. The money gives me the right to have a say in how it's used. Then maybe I don't want your money. The silence that follows is absolute. Even the guests who had started moving toward the ceremony space stop and turn back. This is getting serious now. This is potentially wedding-ending serious. Cynthia laughs, but there's no humor in it. You don't mean that. Don't I? You're threatening to cancel the reception anyway. So why don't we just make it official? Cancel it. Keep your money. Luke and I will figure something else out. Natalie. I start, but she holds up a hand. This isn't about the money, Luke. This is about what we're willing to accept. And I'm not willing to accept my mother treating your mother like she's worthless. Cynthia is staring at Natalie like she's never seen her before. You would throw away everything we've planned? The venue, the food, the band? You'd humiliate yourself in front of all these people? I'd rather be humiliated than be cruel. You're being dramatic. And you're being manipulative. You're trying to use money to force me to choose between you and Evelyn. But here's the thing, Mom. I shouldn't have to choose. In a healthy family, I wouldn't have to choose. In a healthy family, you would respect your parents. In a healthy family, my parents would respect the person I'm marrying and the family he comes from. They're facing each other now, mother and daughter, both dressed formally, both furious. The contrast is stark. Natalie in her white wedding dress, Cynthia in her champagne, mother of the bride gown. They should be taking pictures together, laughing and crying happy tears. Instead, they're engaged in a battle of wills in a hotel lobby. I can't believe you're doing this, Cynthia says. Her voice is shaking now. I can't believe you're choosing her over me. I'm not choosing anyone over anyone. I'm refusing to let you exclude someone who doesn't deserve it. She doesn't fit. She doesn't have to fit your narrow definition of acceptable. She just has to be a good person, which she is. She just has to love her son, which she does. That's enough. That should be enough. Cynthia shakes her head slowly. You have no idea what you're doing. You're ruining your own wedding. No, Mom. You did that when you tried to keep Evelyn out. Then I'm done. Cynthia's voice is flat now, emotionless. If you want to throw away everything I've done for you, fine. The reception is canceled, and you can explain to all of these people, she gestures at the gathered guests, why their evening has been ruined. She turns to walk away. Natalie watches her go, and I can see the moment it hits her. The reality that her mother just threatened to cancel the reception and might actually do it. But then Natalie does something I don't expect. She smiles. It's small, but it's real. Actually, Mom, she calls out. Cynthia stops, but doesn't turn around. There's something you should know. Cynthia turns slowly. What? About that reception, Natalie says. Her voice is calm now, almost conversational. About the funding. What about it? You're not paying for it anymore. Cynthia blinks. Excuse me. I took over the payments 3 months ago. The lobby goes so quiet I can hear the ventilation system humming. Cynthia's face goes through several expressions in rapid succession. Confusion, disbelief, then something that looks like panic. That's not possible, she says. I have the contract. I've been handling all the payments. You had the contract, Natalie corrects. Past tense. In August, I went to the venue and explained that I wanted to take over financial responsibility. They were happy to accommodate, especially after I paid off the remaining balance in full. You can't afford. I have a trust fund from my grandmother. Remember? The one you always said I should save for something important? Natalie's smile gets a little wider. This seemed important. I'm staring at her. I had no idea about this. We talked about the wedding budget, about how her parents were paying for most of it, about how we'd contribute where we could. But she never mentioned taking over the payments. Why? I ask. She looks at me. Because every time I wanted to make a decision about our wedding, your mom attached a condition. Want lilies instead of roses? Only if we remove 2 of your groomsmen to make room for her friends. Want the band to play jazz instead of classical? Only if we agree to her seating chart. Want a smaller cake? Only if we cut the guest list her way. She turns back to Cynthia. Every single thing became a negotiation, with you using the money as leverage, so I removed the leverage. You went behind my back. I took control of my own wedding. There's a difference. Does your father know about this? He knows. He's the one who helped me set it up, actually. He agreed that you were being overly controlling. Cynthia looks like the ground has been pulled out from under her. Arthur knew? He's known since August. He thought it was a good idea. He said, and I quote, "Your mother needs to learn that money doesn't buy obedience." I can see Cynthia processing this, realizing that not only has Natalie undermined her leverage, but her own husband helped. The betrayal is written all over her face. So when you threaten to cancel the reception, I start. She couldn't, Natalie finishes, because she doesn't control it anymore. I do. Marla, who's been hovering near the entrance to the ceremony space, steps forward. Miss Browning? I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I was instructed by Miss Harper to defer to her on all final decisions. As of August 15th, she's been the primary contact for all vendor communications. Cynthia wheels on her. And you didn't think to tell me? Miss Harper asked me not to. She said she'd handle informing you. I was waiting for the right moment, Natalie says. I thought maybe you'd ease up on the control once you realized I was handling things just fine. But you never did. You just kept pushing, kept trying to manage every detail. Because I wanted it to be perfect for you. No, you wanted it to be perfect according to your standards. There's a difference. Cynthia looks around the lobby again, at all the witnesses to her loss of control. Some of them look sympathetic. Others look almost satisfied, like they've seen Cynthia's behavior before and are glad someone finally stood up to her. I was only trying to help, Cynthia says. Her voice has lost all its earlier certainty. She sounds smaller now, almost vulnerable. I know, Natalie says, and her tone softens slightly. I know you thought you were helping, but Mom, your help felt like control, and your concern felt like judgment, especially toward Evelyn. She walks over to my mom, who's still sitting in the chair, watching this unfold with wide eyes. Natalie holds out her hand. Evelyn, will you sit in the front row? During the ceremony? That's where mothers of the groom traditionally sit, and I would be honored if you'd take your proper place. My mom looks at the offered hand like she doesn't quite believe it's real. Are you sure? I don't want to cause... You're not causing anything. You're just being you, which is exactly what I want. Slowly, my mom reaches out and takes Natalie's hand. Natalie helps her stand, and they face each other. Bride and future mother-in-law, one in a wedding dress and one in a modest navy gown. Thank you, my mom whispers. Thank you for raising such a good man, Natalie responds. Thank you for supporting our relationship from the beginning, and thank you for being patient with my mother, even when she didn't deserve it. My mom starts crying again, but these are different tears. Happy tears. Relieved tears. Cynthia is still standing near the pillar, watching this interaction with an expression I can't quite read. Hurt, maybe. Or embarrassment. Or the dawning realization that she's pushed too hard and lost the very control she was fighting so desperately to maintain. So that's it? She says. You're just gonna proceed like nothing happened? Like I haven't been completely humiliated in front of everyone? You humiliated yourself, Mom, Natalie says gently. You made this choice when you tried to exclude Evelyn. I'm just making a different choice now. And what about me? What about what I want? What do you want? Cynthia opens her mouth, then closes it. She seems genuinely unsure how to answer. I want, she starts. I want you to be happy. Then let me be happy. Let me have the wedding I want, with the people I want there. Let me start my marriage without this conflict hanging over it. I don't think I can, Cynthia admits quietly. I don't think I can just stand by and watch you make what I believe is a mistake. Then maybe you need to decide whether being right is more important than being present. The ultimatum hangs in the air. This is it, the moment where Cynthia has to choose between her pride and her daughter. I hold my breath, waiting to see what she'll do. Cynthia stands there for a long moment, her hands clasped in front of her, her expressions cycling through emotions so quickly I can barely track them. Anger, hurt, pride, fear, resignation. Finally, she speaks. You're asking me to accept something I fundamentally disagree with. I'm asking you to respect my choices, Natalie corrects. You don't have to agree. You just have to stop trying to control everything. I am your mother. It's my job to guide you. Guide, yes. Control, no. There's a difference. Cynthia looks at my mom, really looks at her for maybe the first time all day. My mom straightens slightly under the scrutiny, lifting her chin, even though I can see her hands shaking. I don't understand, Cynthia says. I don't understand what Natalie sees in this situation that makes it acceptable. You come from completely different worlds. You have nothing in common. How is this supposed to work? The same way it works for millions of other families, I say. We just make it work. We choose to be kind to each other. We choose to respect each other's differences instead of using them as weapons. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You're the one making it complicated. Natalie steps forward closer to her mother. Mom, I love you. I appreciate everything you and Dad have done for me, but I'm marrying Luke, and that means Evelyn is going to be part of my life. She's going to be at family dinners and holidays, and eventually, if we're lucky, she'll be a grandmother to my children. You can either accept that and build a relationship with her, or you can fight it and make everyone miserable. Those are your choices. You're asking me to change everything I believe about. I'm asking you to be kind. That's it. Just be kind. Cynthia closes her eyes briefly. When she opens them again, something has shifted in her expression. Not acceptance exactly, but maybe a reluctant acknowledgement of reality. I can stay for the ceremony? She asks, her voice small. Of course you can stay. You're my mother. But Mom. Natalie's voice gets firmer. You stay as a guest, not as someone in charge. Not as someone who gets to decide who else can attend or where they sit. Just as my mother, watching me get married. Can you do that? I can try. That's all I'm asking. Cynthia nods slowly. She looks around the lobby at the assembled guests, many of whom are still watching this family drama unfold. I can see the embarrassment on her face, the awareness that she's lost this battle in the most public way possible. I should. She gestures vaguely toward the ceremony space. I should find my seat. The front row, Natalie says, right side. That's where mothers of the bride sit. I know where mothers of the bride sit, Cynthia says, a flash of her old sharpness returning, but then she catches herself. Thank you. I'll go find my place. She walks toward the ceremony space with her shoulders back and her head high, maintaining whatever dignity she can. Several guests follow her, probably eager to get away from the conflict and into the relative safety of assigned seating. Jackson leans close to me. That was intense. That was necessary, I respond. Natalie turns to Marla. How much time do we have before the ceremony should start? Marla checks her watch. About 15 minutes if we want to stay on schedule. But we can push it back if you need more time. No, let's stick to the schedule. I just need 5 minutes to touch up my makeup and calm down. I'll come with you, my mom offers. If you want company. Natalie smiles. I'd like that. The two of them head toward the stairs, Natalie holding up her dress and my mom walking beside her. Watching them together, bride and mother-in-law, united despite Cynthia's best efforts to keep them apart, makes something in my chest loosen. Jackson claps me on the shoulder. You good? Yeah, I think so. Your mom okay? I watch her disappearing up the stairs with Natalie. She will be. And you're sure you want to marry into this family? Because if that's what the wedding is like, imagine the holidays. I laugh, and it feels good to laugh after all that tension. Natalie's worth it. She better be, because her mom is going to be a handful. At least now she knows there are boundaries. Natalie drew a line today. A very public line, Jackson agrees. Half the wedding guests just watched Cynthia get put in her place. That's going to be awkward at the reception. If they don't like it, they can leave. Fair enough. Marla approaches us, looking relieved that the crisis seems to be over. Mr. Westwood, should we proceed with the original ceremony plan? Your mother sitting front row, left side? Absolutely. And Marla, thank you for being honest about what Cynthia was trying to do. She flushes slightly. I should have said something earlier. I knew it wasn't right, but she's very persuasive. She's very controlling, but you did the right thing in the end. The remaining guests are filtering into the ceremony space now. The lobby is emptying out, returning to the calm, elegant space it's supposed to be. You'd never know that 20 minutes ago, it was the site of a family confrontation that nearly ended a wedding. I checked my phone. No messages from Natalie. I wonder what she and my mom are talking about upstairs. About 10 minutes later, Natalie comes back downstairs alone. She's retouched her makeup, fixed her hair, and somehow looks even more composed than before. You'd never know she just had a massive fight with her mother. Your mom is going to wait upstairs until it's time for the processional, she tells me. She didn't want to come down and risk another confrontation. Is she okay? She's wonderful. We had a really good talk. She told me about raising you, about all the sacrifices she made. Luke, she's incredible. I can't believe my mother tried to keep her out. I can't believe it either. Actually, I can believe it. I should have seen this coming. My mom has been dropping hints for months about how different our families are, how we need to manage expectations, how important it is to maintain standards. I just didn't realize she meant excluding your mother entirely. Did she ever say anything specifically about Mom? Natalie hesitates. A few things. She said your mom seemed sweet but simple. She said it was good that you overcome your background. She made comments about your mom's clothes, her job, where she lives. I shut her down every time, but I guess I didn't shut her down hard enough. This isn't your fault. It kind of is. I knew my mom was being snobbish. I knew she had these awful attitudes about class and money. I just didn't think she'd act on them so blatantly. Well, now she knows she can't. Now everyone knows she can't. Natalie glances toward the ceremony space. Half our wedding guests just watched me tell my mother off. That's gonna be awkward. Maybe. Or maybe some of them needed to see it. Maybe some of them have been on the receiving end of your mom's judgment too. Oh, they definitely have. My mom's been helping people right out of her life for years. My dad's told me stories about friends who stopped coming around because my mom made them feel inferior. Your dad seems different. He is. He's much more down to earth. That's probably why he helped me take over the wedding payments. He's been trying to get my mom to ease up on the controlling behavior for years. Jackson appears at my elbow. Bride and groom aren't supposed to see each other before the wedding. You're breaking tradition. We already broke tradition when I came downstairs in my dress, Natalie points out. At this point, what's a few more minutes? Fair enough. The groomsmen are assembled and ready whenever you are. The guests are seated. Marla says we're good to start as soon as you give the word. Natalie takes a deep breath. Okay, let's do this. Let's get married. She squeezes my hand, then heads back toward the stairs to wait for her cue. Jackson and I go to find the other groomsmen. They're waiting in a small room off the main hall. 4 guys in matching suits, looking varying degrees of nervous and excited. Preston, Cynthia's nephew, is there. He looks uncomfortable, probably because he was clearly in on Cynthia's plan to keep my mom out. Everything okay? One of the other groomsmen asks. We heard there was some kind of issue. It's handled, I say shortly. Was it true about your mom? Preston asks. About her not being on the list? I turn to look at him directly. It was true that Cynthia tried to keep her out. It was not true that my mom didn't belong there. And Preston, if you had anything to do with that plan, we're going to have a problem. He has the grace to look ashamed. She told me there was a security concern, that uninvited people were trying to get in. I didn't know it was your mom until I saw her standing there. And then I realized Aunt Cynthia had lied to me. I'm sorry, I should have said something. Yeah, you should have. I let the words hang for a moment, then relent slightly. But you're here now, and we have a wedding to do, so let's focus on that. Marla sticks her head in the door. Gentlemen, we're about to start. Please line up in the staging area. We file out, taking our positions. Through the doorway, I can see the ceremony space filling up. Rows of white chairs, elegant floral arrangements, soft lighting, and in the front row on the left, my mom, sitting with her hands folded in her lap, her eyes bright with tears. She made it. Despite Cynthia's best efforts, despite the lies and the manipulation and the attempts to exclude her, my mom is here. She's going to watch me get married. I catch her eye and give her a small wave. She waves back, smiling through her tears. The music starts. Time for the wedding to actually begin. The processional starts with the bridesmaids. They walk down the aisle one by one, each carrying a small bouquet, each wearing a dusty rose dress that Natalie picked out months ago. The guests watch and smile, probably relieved that we're finally getting to the actual wedding part after all the drama in the lobby. I walk down the aisle with my mom on my arm. This wasn't in the original plan. Usually, the groom just walks out from the side and stands at the altar, waiting. But after everything that happened, I asked Natalie if I could escort my mom to her seat myself, making it very clear that she's important, that she belongs here. Natalie said yes immediately, so I walk with my mom, slowly, giving her the moment she deserves. People watch us, some with curiosity, some with knowing looks. They saw the confrontation in the lobby, or they heard about it from the people who did. They know what it means that I'm walking my mother down the aisle. We reach the front row. I help her into her seat, and she grips my hand tightly for a moment. "I'm so proud of you," she whispers. "I'm proud of you too, Mom." I take my place at the altar next to the officiant, a friend of Natalie's family who's known her since she was a kid. Jackson stands beside me as my best man. The other groomsmen fan out to the sides. Then the music changes. Here comes the bride. Everyone stands and turns toward the back of the room, and there's Natalie, standing at the entrance with her father. She's breathtaking. The dress, the flowers, the veil now pulled over her face. But more than that, she's radiant. Despite everything that happened earlier, despite the confrontation with her mother and the near disaster of the whole day, she's glowing with happiness. Her father, Arthur, looks proud and maybe a little emotional. He's not like Cynthia. He's quieter, more thoughtful, more accepting. He shook my hand the first time we met and said, "Anyone who makes my daughter happy is fine by me." And he's lived up to that ever since. They walk down the aisle together. I can see Cynthia in the front row on the right side, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. She's crying, but I can't tell if they're happy tears or sad ones. Maybe both. Natalie reaches the altar. Arthur lifts her veil and kisses her cheek, then shakes my hand before taking his seat next to Cynthia. And then it's just Natalie and me, standing together in front of all these people, about to promise our lives to each other. The officiant begins. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." I barely hear the words. I'm too focused on Natalie, on the way she's looking at me like I'm the only person in the room, on the way her hands are steady when she takes mine, even though I know she must be feeling all the same adrenaline I am. We get through the traditional parts of the ceremony, the readings, the prayers, the general address about marriage and commitment. Then we get to the vows. I go first. I've had these vows memorized for weeks, but standing here now, in front of everyone, after everything that's happened today, the words take on new meaning. "Natalie," I begin. "When I met you, I thought I knew what love was. But you showed me that love is more than just a feeling. It's a choice. A choice to stand together even when things are difficult. A choice to protect each other, to respect each other, to build a life together based on shared values instead of shared circumstances." I see her eyes get shiny with tears. "Today wasn't perfect," I continue. "Today was messy and hard and honestly kind of terrible for a while. But you showed me what matters. You showed me that you'll stand up for what's right even when it's uncomfortable. You showed me that you value people over appearances. And you showed me that when you love someone, you love their family too, not because you have to, but because you choose to." I glance at my mom, who's crying openly now. "I promise to always choose you, to always stand beside you, to always value what matters, kindness, respect, love over what doesn't. I promise to be the partner you deserve, the husband you can count on, and the man your parents raised you to marry. Even if one of them tried pretty hard to stop this wedding from happening." Laughter ripples through the crowd. Even Cynthia manages a watery smile. "I love you," I finish. "I choose you. Today and every day." Now it's Natalie's turn. She takes a shaky breath. "Luke, when I told my friends I was marrying you, some of them asked what we had in common. You're from a different background," they said. "Different family, different experiences, different world. And they weren't wrong. We are different in a lot of ways." She pauses, and I can see her choosing her next words carefully. "But I've learned that the important things, the things that actually matter, we have those in common. We both value honesty over convenience. We both believe in standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves. We both think that where you come from matters less than who you choose to be. Her eyes flick briefly to Cynthia, then back to me. Your mother raised you to be kind, to be strong, to be compassionate. She raised you to know that your worth isn't measured by your bank account or your zip code or what clubs you belong to. She raised you to be exactly the kind of man I want to spend my life with. My mom is full-on sobbing now. Jackson hands her a tissue. I promise to honor that, Natalie continues. To honor where you came from and the people who made you who you are. I promise to stand with you, to choose love over pride, to build a family, our family, based on respect and kindness and acceptance. I promise that our home will always be a place where people are valued for who they are, not what they have. She glances at Cynthia again, and this time her mother nods slightly. An acknowledgement, maybe, or an apology. I love you, Natalie finishes. I choose you, today and every day. The officiant has us exchange rings. Then he pronounces us married, and I get to kiss my wife for the first time. The crowd cheers. My mom is still crying. Cynthia is crying too, though she's trying to hide it. Arthur is beaming. We walk back down the aisle together, hand in hand, husband and wife. The guests throw flower petals. Another thing Natalie picked out. Another detail that Cynthia probably tried to veto and failed. We make it to the lobby, where we're supposed to take a few minutes for photos before the reception. But first, I pull Natalie aside. Thank you, I tell her, for everything, for standing up for my mom, for standing up to your mom, for choosing what's right over what's easy. Thank you for being someone worth standing up for. She responds, Your mom is amazing, Luke. I'm lucky to have her as family now. Even after today? After all that drama? Especially after today, because she handled it with so much grace. She could have fought back, could have made a scene, but she didn't. She just stood there and let your love for her speak louder than your mom's hate. My mom doesn't hate her. Maybe not, but she definitely doesn't respect her. Not yet anyway. Will she ever? Natalie considers this. I don't know. I hope so. But if she doesn't, if she never comes around, then she's going to have a pretty lonely relationship with us. Because I'm not cutting your mom out to make mine comfortable. That might cause problems. Then we'll deal with them together. That's what marriage is, right? Dealing with problems together? I pull her close and kiss her again. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The reception is held in the ballroom adjacent to the ceremony space. The room has been transformed. White linens, elegant centerpieces, soft lighting that makes everything glow. The band is setting up in the corner, and there's a dance floor that's currently empty, but will be packed later. As guests file in, they're directed to tables according to the seating chart. I notice Cynthia hovering near the entrance, watching people find their seats. She's still in mother of the bride mode, still wanting to control something. Marla approaches her. Mrs. Browning, did you want to check the seating arrangements? Some guests might need assistance. I'm not in charge anymore, remember? Cynthia says, but there's no bite to it. Just resignation. Ask Natalie or Luke if you need anything. Marla looks surprised by the response but nods and walks away. Arthur appears at Cynthia's side. Come on, let's find our seats. I know where our seats are, Arthur. I planned this entire... She stops herself. Natalie planned this entire reception. She did a good job, Arthur says mildly. She did it with my money. She did it with her grandmother's money. There's a difference. Cynthia shoots him a look, but she follows him to the head table where the wedding party will sit. My mom is seated at a table nearby with some of my relatives, my aunt and uncle, my cousins. She looks much more relaxed now, laughing at something my uncle is saying. Natalie and I are supposed to make a grand entrance after everyone else is seated. We're waiting in an adjacent room with the wedding party, and I can hear the buzz of conversation from the reception through the door. You ready for this? Jackson asks me. The hard part's over. This is just a party. A party with your mother-in-law who tried to ban your mother. That's going to be awkward. Maybe, or maybe everyone will just focus on having a good time and leave the drama behind. Optimistic. Realistic, I counter. Most people at this wedding have no idea about the details of what happened in the lobby. They saw some kind of confrontation, but they don't know what it was about. As far as they're concerned, Everything worked out fine. What about the people who do know? The ones who heard everything? Then they know Natalie stood up to her mother? That's not a bad thing for people to know about my wife, Jackson grins. Your wife, that's gonna take some getting used to. Tell me about it. Marla sticks her head in. Ready for your entrance? All the guests are seated. Natalie takes my hand. Let's go party. We're announced. For the first time as husband and wife, Luke and Natalie Westwood, and the room erupts in applause. We walk to the head table, waving and smiling. The band starts playing soft jazz, and servers begin bringing out the first course. I'm seated next to Natalie, with Jackson on my other side. Cynthia is at the same table, but at the opposite end, with Arthur between her and Natalie. The bridesmaids and other groomsmen fill out the rest of the spots. The meal is excellent, some kind of fancy chicken with vegetables that I can't pronounce. Natalie clearly put thought into the menu. I wonder how many fights she had with Cynthia about food choices before she took over the payments and could decide for herself. During dinner, people give toasts. Jackson goes first, as best man. He keeps it light and funny, telling embarrassing stories about me from college that make everyone laugh. One of Natalie's bridesmaids goes next, sharing sweet memories of growing up with Natalie. Then Arthur stands. He taps his glass to get everyone's attention. I want to say a few words about my daughter, he begins. Natalie has always been strong-willed. Even as a little girl, she knew what she wanted and wasn't afraid to go after it. He glances at Cynthia. Sometimes that caused friction with her mother and me. Sometimes we wanted her to make different choices. But we learned, or at least I learned, that Natalie's judgment is usually pretty sound. When she chooses something, there's a good reason behind it. He raises his glass toward us. When Natalie told me she was going to marry Luke, I was happy for her. Not because of Luke's job or his prospects or any of that surface stuff, but because when she talked about him, she lit up. She was genuinely happy. And as a father, that's all I really want for my daughter. He looks at my mom's table. I also want to say something about Evelyn. I haven't known her as long as I've known Luke, but from what I've seen, she's a remarkable woman. She raised a son who treats my daughter with respect and kindness. She did that alone, without a lot of resources, and she did a damn good job. Some people murmur in agreement. My mom looks like she might start crying again. Family isn't just about blood, Arthur continues. It's about choosing to love people, choosing to accept them, choosing to make room for them in your life. Today, our families became one family. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that Natalie chose Luke, and I'm grateful that Evelyn will be part of our extended family going forward. He sits down to applause. Cynthia is staring at her plate, her jaw tight. I wonder if she realizes that was a rebuke directed at her. A gentle one, but a rebuke nonetheless. The dancing starts after dinner. Natalie and I have our first dance as husband and wife, a song she picked out, something romantic and slow. I'm not a great dancer, but she guides me through it. Your dad's toast was nice, I murmur. He's a good man. I think that's why he and my mom work. He balances out her intensity. Do you think she'll ever really accept my mom? Honestly, I don't know. But I'm not going to let her exclusion of your mom poison our marriage. If she can't be civil, then she'll just see less of us. That seems harsh. It's a boundary. Healthy marriages need boundaries, even with family, maybe especially with family. The song ends, and tradition dictates that I dance with my mom next while Natalie dances with Arthur. I walk over to my mom's table and offer my hand. May I have this dance? She laughs, a little embarrassed. I'm not much of a dancer, sweetie. Neither am I. We'll figure it out together. We make our way to the dance floor. The band starts playing something soft and sweet. My mom is tiny. She comes up to maybe my shoulder, and she feels fragile in my arms. I'm so proud of you, she says for the second time today. You already said that. Well, I'm saying it again. You handled today so well. You stood up for me even when it would have been easier not to. That takes courage. You taught me that. You taught me to stand up for what's right. I tried. I wasn't always sure I was doing it right, raising you alone. I worried I was messing you up. You didn't mess me up, Mom. You made me who I am. A good man who married a good woman. I'm happy for you, Luke. Are you really? Even after everything with Cynthia? She's quiet for a moment. I won't lie and say it didn't hurt. It did. But I understand where she's coming from, even if I don't agree with it. She wants the best for her daughter. She just has a very narrow definition of what the best looks like. That's generous of you. I don't have the energy for grudges. Life's too short. And besides, she nods toward where Natalie is dancing with Arthur. Look at what you got. That woman loves you enough to stand up to her own mother for you. That's rare. That's special. Don't let your mom and I being awkward around each other overshadow that. I won't. Good. Now, go dance with your wife. I'm going to sit down before I trip over these heels. I laugh and escort her back to her table, then go find Natalie. She's talking with some guests, but she breaks away when she sees me. Everything okay with your mom? Everything's great. She just told me to appreciate you. Smart woman. We dance for a while longer, then mingle with guests. People come up to congratulate us, to comment on the ceremony, to compliment the reception. A few people, mostly those who witnessed the lobby confrontation, give me knowing looks or squeeze my hand a little extra tight, like they're saying, "Good for you for standing up to Cynthia." I notice Cynthia isn't mingling. She's sitting at the head table, watching the party, but not participating. She looks isolated, lonely even, surrounded by celebration, but somehow separate from it. Natalie notices too. I should probably go talk to her. Are you sure that's a good idea? She's my mom, and this is my wedding. I can't just ignore her all night. Do you want me to come with you? No. This is something I need to do alone. I watch her walk over to Cynthia. They talk for a few minutes. I can't hear what they're saying, but I can see their body language. Cynthia looks defensive at first, then her shoulders slump. Natalie says something that makes her mother nod. Then, surprisingly, Cynthia stands and hugs her daughter. It's brief, almost formal, but it's something. A small step toward reconciliation. When Natalie comes back, I ask, "How'd that go?" As well as could be expected, she's still hurt that I took over the payments without telling her. She's still uncomfortable with your mom being here, but she's trying. In her own way, she's trying. That's progress, I guess. It's a start. The party continues late into the night. People dance, eat cake, laugh, and celebrate. My mom stays until around 10, then quietly slips away with my aunt and uncle. Before she goes, she finds me and Natalie to say goodbye. "Thank you both," she says, "for today, for everything, for making me feel like I belong." "You do belong," Natalie tells her firmly. "You're family now, and in this family, everyone belongs." After my mom leaves, Cynthia and Arthur leave too. Cynthia gives Natalie a stiff hug and tells her the reception was lovely. She doesn't say anything to me, but she nods in my direction. It's not much, but it's something. The reception winds down around midnight. Natalie and I say goodbye to the remaining guests and thank them for coming. Then we head up to the hotel suite where we'll spend our wedding night before flying out to our honeymoon tomorrow. In the quiet of the suite, away from the guests and the music and the drama, Natalie kicks off her heels and collapses onto the couch. "We did it," she says. "We actually got married. Despite your mother's best efforts. Despite a lot of things." She pulls me down next to her. "Luke, I'm sorry about my mom, about how she treated your mom." "You don't have to apologize for her." "I kind of do, though. She's my mother. Her behavior reflects on me, on my family, on what you're marrying into." "I'm marrying into you, not your mom, you." "Still, I'm gonna have a serious talk with her when we get back from the honeymoon, set some very clear boundaries about how she interacts with your mom going forward." "Do you think she'll respect those boundaries?" "She'll have to. Because if she doesn't, if she continues to treat your mom like she's somehow less than, then she won't see much of us." I meant what I said in my vows. Our home will be a place where people are valued for who they are, and that includes Evelyn. I pull her close and kiss her forehead. "Thank you for that. For standing up for my mom, even when it meant confronting yours. Thank you for being the kind of man who loves his mother enough to fight for her. A lot of guys would have just let her leave, would have taken the easy path. You didn't." "I couldn't. She deserves better than that." "She does, and now she has a daughter-in-law who will make sure she's never excluded again." We sit there for a while, just holding each other, letting the craziness of the day settle into memory. "You know what the weird thing is?" Natalie says eventually. "I think this might have needed to happen. Not the way it happened, obviously. But if my mom had succeeded in keeping your mom out, if we'd just gone along with it to keep the peace, that would have set a terrible precedent for our marriage. We would have been starting from a place of exclusion and control instead of inclusion and partnership. So you're saying the confrontation was good? I'm saying the resolution was good. The fact that we stood up for what was right, that we didn't let fear of conflict override our values, that's good. That's the foundation we want to build our marriage on. She's right. As messy and uncomfortable as today was, it clarified something important. It showed us both that we're willing to fight for each other, for our families, for what matters. And that's worth all the awkwardness and drama and family tension in the world. I love you, I tell her. I love you too. Now and always. We spend our wedding night in that suite, finally alone, finally able to just be husband and wife without witnesses or drama or family complications. Tomorrow, we'll fly to our honeymoon destination. Next week, we'll come back and start building our life together. But tonight, we're just two people who chose each other, who fought for each other, who promised to keep choosing each other no matter what. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything.